Honestly, the UFO cover-up has been probably the biggest failure in military history. It hasn't been dealt with going back even into the 1920s.
Netanyahu's power depends on there being war.
And I'm inclined to agree with Tony Schwartz, who really actually penned the book and Trump takes most of the credit for, in saying that Trump had the absence of a soul.
Gotta make you forget about the Epstein files and all the other shit that's going on. So let's just do a random dump of UFO files to keep everybody disinterested in what's really happening around the world.
That's the problem. Congress they're more loyal to their political careers than their constituents and to the country.
I mean, the Persians have been around for a long time. I don't see what the overall goal here is, how we're going to displace the Persians.
This is the biggest cover-up in history, and information is power. That's why they don't want to release the truth, because it gives them power over the rest of us, because we're just the cattle.
And no offense to us, but I don't think we're the most holy and worthy people on the planet and the only ones that should be holding the master button to blow people up. Who gets to make those decisions?
The Israelis. So.
Yeah, Israel gets to.
Hi, everybody. This is John back for Real Veteran News 56. This week, we've got Brandon Kennemore, John Jackson Marine, and Gold Star sister Mary Cubbick. Let's introduce ourselves in that order, please.
Yeah, Brandon Kennemore, Army Ranger, Canine Handler, Mortar, IT professional.
John Jackson, Marine, overall, next cruncher, crown eater, and I work in finance.
Okay, cool. Mary?
Mary, Gold Star sister, veteran support specialist for Gallant Few, social worker.
Social work, most important work. All right. So this week, we're going to talk about the Iran ceasefire, the Trump and Xi Jinping meeting, and Trump's tariffs got axed by the Supreme Court. So we can talk about tariffs and what he was doing, etc. Before we get started, I would like to just talk real quick, and I personally would like to ask Brandon about the UFO videos that are out and what the congressmen and government are saying about UFOs. We've been doing this for a couple years now, and I remember having conversations with Brandon where he is of the opinion that alien UFOs don't exist and that the UFOs are our own drones that for some reason our pilots are chasing, so on and so forth. So Brandon, are you still of the opinion that
we're chasing our own stuff? That's not to say there's not actual aliens and UFOs out there, but I just don't. I would say that first release from war.gov is underwhelming. There wasn't really any substantial evidence in there.
Have you seen these other videos? I mean, some of these videos are...
There's no good videos. There's no high-def videos. There's billions of cameras everywhere. There's no good videos anywhere. Show me a good video of a UFO.
I think there's a lot of good videos. There's a lot of firsthand accounts from respectable, uptight, straight-laced military people, officers.
You're talking about like the Tic Tac and those guys. They're going to a declassification briefing and they're being told what they can say. Like David Fravor, he's not saying what he actually saw. He's being told what to say.
Okay, I mean, some of these videos.
If they really want to release that, they should release the high. They should release the high definition footage instead of the shitty footage that they're going to release us.
Why would they not be releasing it unless they're afraid people are going to panic?
Because they want to keep it ambiguous. So they keep everybody wondering. They don't want to actually say what the hell's going on. Got to make you forget about the Epstein files and all the other shit that's going on. So let's just do a random dump of UFO files to keep everybody disinterested in what's really happening around the world.
I'll remember that when more comes out, because to me it seems ridiculous. Like, these accounts and the videos do not seem possible by physics, whether it's our drones or whatever. We don't have anything. No human beings have any technology like this. And it seems like the biggest problem facing the U.S. military. Honestly, the UFO cover-up has been probably the biggest failure in military history. It hasn't been dealt with going back even into the 1920s. So I'm pretty disappointed in that. I would like to just hear the truth. What do you think, Mary?
We can't handle the truth.
I think it's a combination of both. I think that we have a lot of technology, and I think that it kind of serves as a smokescreen for us, as like a distraction in the background, like the man behind the curtain, so we can be doing other things and distracting the American public and just people at large with, oh, look, shiny object in the sky, and then sign a bill on the side. I don't know that the validity is worth the chase.
You don't believe?
Do I think there's real aliens? Absolutely, of course. I mean, I think it's ignorant to think that we are the only planet with any kind of life on it, and I highly doubt we're the most intelligent of it. But I feel like if I was smarter than the people that lived on this planet, I wouldn't come to visit except to watch it like the real world.
Yeah, there's fungus that lives in the Chernobyl plant and absorbs gamma radiation to survive. So there's definitely life somewhere else in the universe.
Yeah.
Well, they're here now. flying around the planet,
let's see,
under the ocean.
Prove it. There's
You don't have
billions
to
of
prove it,
cameras
dude.
everywhere.
It's
There's
obvious.
millions of sensors everywhere. There's no hard evidence of any UFOs.
There's definitely hard
There's
evidence.
not. Show it to me. Where's it at? Where's it
You
at?
just got your head in the sand. Dude.
Where's it
It's
at?
all over the place.
Where's it
Well,
at?
there's
Show me the
evidence-
actual. Show me the no bullshit video covers that. It's like, yeah, there's no way that's not a UFO. It doesn't exist. It's all blurry and bullshit, and it's not based in reality.
Blurry and bullshit. It's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
show me the footage. Show me the footage.
It's all over the internet.
Show me the cell phone. Show it to me.
But
'Cause it's not there.
unidentified doesn't mean alien. Alien just means unknown, so it doesn't mean extraterrestrial, right?
The issue is that they're defying the
unidentified.
laws of physics as we know them. And it's not something you can fake. You know what I mean? And these pilots and people are not lying about it. I mean, there's too many of them. Some of these have multiple eyewitnesses. They're risking their careers and being ridiculed. None of this makes sense. Congressmen are on it saying what they've seen. Like
The David Fravor and the Tic Tac incident, he literally says that he was briefed before we were going on that mission, that they had intelligence, that weird things were happening in the area. Come on. They know this
because it
shit's happening
happens
because
all
we're
the
doing
time.
because we're doing it, dude. It's our
We are
own
not
technology.
we're not
It's
doing
our
it.
own.
It's
our own
ridiculous.
technology. Nah, it's our own technology.
Preposterous.
Test out them black budget. We got to test out them black budget technologies, dude.
It's
I
fucking
don't think they'd
bullshit.
want us to know if they had that technology anyway. I mean, I think that a lot of the things that we're seeing now have existed for a long time. 1984 was written in like the 20s, and it was written about a box in people's houses that could see them and hear them. And lo and behold, the modern television and cell phone. I think that some of this stuff has existed. They just don't want us to know that it did.
That's
my
preposterous.
Aliens built the
Foolishness.
pyramids. We didn't do
How
it.
is it? I don't think it's preposterous to say that. I mean, how could they have possibly known back in the 20s some of the things that were happening now if they weren't already in the works somewhere? That's
They didn't even have
preposterous.
computers in the 20s. All right, John
that
Jackson.
we know
Rain.
about.
What do the
Maybe we
Marines
didn't
think about the UFOs?
I hope that they're hot and
What flavor would a UFO be
that they're
in
nice
Crayon World?
Green.
and that they come in peace. But otherwise, it's really interesting stuff. And I think UFOs are real. Aliens are real. It just makes sense to me.
Do you think they're here right now?
They're here.
Do we have
Thank you.
Does the
Thank
government
you.
have biologics somewhere in a hidden lab somewhere?
I think there's something biological sitting around. It could be, it might not be what we expect it to be, but it's something.
They definitely have some stuff. All right.
Just the U.S. government, though, right? Because the aliens all come to us and then nobody else.
No,
Dude,
I'm
all
pretty
the other
sure-
countries have the shit too.
I'm pretty
It
sure
happens
other
everywhere.
countries have it too.
It happened to
I'm
the
pretty sure
Chinese, it's happened to the
Americans aren't the only
Russians.
ones who claim to have seen stuff, but we just see the American accounts because that's where we are.
I think if any country had some earth-breaking news of biologicals or UFO technology, then it'd be a whistle. Something would get out of actual concrete evidence to showcase it.
They're killing people, dude.
Aliens
It's the
are killing
biggest-
people?
No, the government is killing people in order to cover this stuff up. It's been
Are you
it's
saying like the
largest-
12 scientists that have been disappeared?
No,
You're saying
going
that's part of that?
Going back 100 years, if you talked about this, they fucking killed you. This is the biggest cover up in history, and information is power. That's why they don't want to release the truth, because it gives them power over the rest of us, because we're just the cattle and they are masters essentially.
Well, there's only one way to find out. We can go to Homey Airport, about 2 hours from Las Vegas, and see what's going on over there near Groom Lake, otherwise known as
Yeah. All right. John said, hopefully they come in peace. One thing I do think about, obviously I believe that this is happening right now. Fortunately, it seems like they're not coming down here to ass fuck us with their advanced technology, because we probably have nothing that they want. They're probably just curious about us, which is a blessing, because with the level of technology that's being displayed here, we obviously are totally out of our league, and hopefully they're nice to us, because otherwise it's going to be not great personally.
I'll be an alien sex slave if I have to be.
I don't know if you're gonna want that after you see what they look like.
Yeah, they got some thick ones, boy.
Some big booty aliens up in here.
Got some long fingers.
Oh.
All right, cool. Let's go on to the terrestrial topics here. Iran ceasefire. There's supposedly the ceasefire going on. Been a little bit of shooting back and forth. Essentially, Trump is saying that it's on life support and has a 1% chance of ceasefire holding in the long term. The Defense Department and Rubio are saying that the previous operation, which was called Epic Fury, stupid fucking name, is over, that they've accomplished their objectives, which seems ridiculous, and that the new operation that they'll start if the ceasefire doesn't doesn't hold, which obviously it's not going to. It's going to be called Sledgehammer, also a stupid name. It just seems like super juvenile. You're going to intimidate your enemy with these juvenile, like sledgehammer name, like you're in the CrossFit gym hitting a tire or something. It's just super lame, just lame military people in charge of this, led by Hegseth. I don't know where the generals are at. They probably hate Hegseth, so I can appreciate them on that. Apparently, we've only killed 1% of the IRGC. They still have 190,000 people on the ground. They still have all their missile capabilities straight off Hormuz. The Democrats have been trying to use the War Powers Act to force withdrawal of our troops from the area and basically stop this. Some Republicans have been on their side, and they lost their fifth vote, their fifth chance to try to stop the Iran action, whatever you want to call it, because John Fetterman, a Democrat, voted with the Republicans because he sees Iran as the real threat. And he says that his own party is rooting for Iran, or rooting against us and for Iran, even though Iran doesn't have a big problem with us, to be honest. It's obviously with Israel. There's someone who'd like to go first, kind of talking about prospects for the Iran ceasefire and what they think about the situation in general.
I can speak. I mean, Democrat, Republican, I would be on the side of those kicking it back to Congress and referring to the constitutional authority that Congress has over war. So whether it's John Fetterman or the Republicans who are voting against it, I think they're a problem. I think that the administration can't keep its story straight. That's what makes a lot of people nervous from all sides of the aisle, is they can't keep their story straight. Their story changes to whatever fits that day. And I'm not sure their tough guy diplomacy is actually getting us anywhere. Obviously, people are feeling it with the price of gas. But the last thing I want to say is, for something like this to have real success with Iran, we've got to have international partnerships. And from what I can see, we've alienated most of our allies.
Mary, Trump said that he doesn't think about the financial hardships and situation of Americans with regard to the gas prices, the rising prices due to this Hormuz thing. What do you think about that? How does it make you feel?
Obviously, there's a direct financial impact to myself and everybody that's here. I think that if they're really trying to focus on America and what's best for us, bringing some of that business back here would eliminate the cost of transport. If we're going to pay those big prices anyway, then we might as well pay them for people that are working in this country, producing goods in this country, instead of paying the cost of gas and transportation. If a war has the power to alter the price of things to that extent, I mean, I thought it was interesting that we're technically in a ceasefire, but if I'm going to fight with you and you pull my hair, ceasefire's over. I'm coming for you. And here, like, low-level strikes don't violate that ceasefire. So I just don't understand the legality or the negotiating terms of what a ceasefire actually is. But when do you cross that line that you're back at war versus just pulling someone's hair or grabbing on their earring or maybe punching them in the shoulder a little bit? Like, when do we cross back into the war line? What defines that? The other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was that we only blew up 6 of their 400 ships, and the big thing is that strait. So when we were actually attacking, why didn't we focus more on the ships?
Brandon, what's your perspective?
I mean, the ceasefire is really a ruse. It's not a real ceasefire. It's just clout, an ego booster to try to think that they're doing something to stop the hostilities. But realistically, there's mad hostilities happening in the background. When the whole ceasefire kicked off, you still had Israel striking Lebanon. They had to make a separate ceasefire for that whole thing. I mean, come on, this is BS. If we want a real ceasefire, then we have a real ceasefire between South Korea and North Korea, which is our longest standing war, right? We know what a real ceasefire looks like, and what's going on right now is not a real ceasefire. It's just a way for Trump to boost his ego, make him feel like he's doing something so he can hang out with all of his war hawks and the people he said he wasn't going to hang out with the whole no new wars agenda. But he backstabbed all the MAGA base on that whole thing, and now he's in cahoots with all the people he said he hated. So I think it's just a big ruse.
I've talked a lot about it. So, I mean, basically, prognosis is obviously ceasefire is not going to hold. The Iranians have us, Trump, by the balls. Trump, Hegseth say that they're winning or whatever by our terms of we dropped a lot of bombs, we blew some stuff up, we've got some cool videos to put out on the internet. War is political coercion of using violence to try to force another party to do what you want. And the end state here is that we cannot force them to do what they want. We can't change the government without invading. We can't, without going in on the ground, actually force them to do anything. And us going on the ground is exactly what they want, because they'll kill a ton of of us, and they have home turf. They've got a ton of people. They've got a ton of military. The military is still organized. We don't have a lot of options, and we don't have any allies because Trump pissed off the Europeans. Obviously, China's not going to help us. And so Trump's going around begging China to help, begging the Europeans to help, and they don't want to get involved in this shit either. To me, seems like the Iranians are just going to hold out. They're suffering a little bit, but the suffering that on us politically is just going to put more and more pressure, disrupt our system. The election coming in November. I mean, if it's May right now and we vote in November, that's only like 6 months. So if they keep that straight closed for 6 months, or they open it back up and close it again, or whatever, they basically can win this. And also, the Israelis are not going to let a real truce go. I mean, the last time we called a truce with them, they started attacking Lebanon. They're obviously trying to keep the war going because that's Netanyahu and Israeli politics.
I mean, the Persians have been around for a long time. I don't see what the overall goal here is, how we're going to displace the Persians. Just like when the Ukraine and Russia conflict started, everyone's like, oh, the sanctions and everything we're doing to Russia is only going to make them weaker and we're going to bankrupt them. And really, that whole conflict has only strengthened Russia geopolitically and internally. So are we going to say the same thing's going to happen to Iran? We're going to strangle them and it's going to sanction them, hurt their trading and all this, and it's going to make them weaker? Well, that's not what happened to Russia. So seems like a knee-jerk reaction again.
You made a good point, John, about Israel. I think it's real important to understand that Netanyahu's power depends on there being war. That's his coalition. It's built on keeping them safe and fighting their enemies. And there has to be an enemy for him to stay in power. Otherwise, his coalition falls apart. He's no longer prime minister, and he likely goes to jail for all these corruption charges he has.
He ain't gonna go to jail for nothing.
That's true. He is politically Teflon.
No, yeah. I mean, all these guys they're essentially immune to any actual repercussions.
Mary,
I just fully expect to hear Peter Gabriel's sledgehammer and all of the memes and the videos if we rename this war.
I've had some people, two women, I'm not sure, people don't talk about it. I've sent the videos too, and they think that we're not giving enough of the Israeli side of things. But, you know, in this group of veterans plus Mary that we have, I don't really know anyone that's super into it. You know, I think a couple people are ambivalent about it that we've had on the show. If it goes well, if we're successful, they're okay spending the money. They're okay with, I guess we've lost 13 and we've had a couple hundred wounded, probably like some pretty severely. They're okay with all our bases in the Middle East being shot to shit. And they're okay with giving Trump the distraction over the Epstein files, as long as there's some kind of resolution and the gas prices outcome that comes out of it. I don't really know anyone that's super into it. I mean, even like the hardcore Trump Republicans, like, I don't think they probably like it that much. They might see it as just like a necessary, that's what Trump is essentially portraying it as. Like, hey, this sucks, but we have to do it. The time is now. They're 2 weeks away from getting a bomb. They're going to bomb America.
2 weeks from getting a bomb for 20 years, according to Netanyahu.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
I don't even think the vice president of the United States supports this. And I think that just the maneuvering with JD Vance, throwing him under the bus to look bad, I don't think he was fully on board, which is why Trump had him get embarrassed and why he is not front and center. And I think the dynamic is really clear. I don't even think the whole administration is behind this, but this is an administration where you weren't picked for your skill. You were picked for your loyalty, being 100% loyal and compliant to what the boss wants.
Or you got to keep your mouth shut, you know, for it or whatever. The administration is definitely split. Tulsi Gabbard doesn't like it. Joe Kent didn't like it. He wasn't that high up. Seems like JD Vance wasn't super into it. It seems like Hegseth was not initially into it, but he just decided to go with the boss, which career-wise for him is probably a good move. I mean, if he hadn't supported it, he'd be out. The general guy, he's kind of like, I'm a general. I'm just going to do what the president tells me. It's my job. You kind of respect that. I mean, I don't think he's been doing a bad job. And given the cards that have been dealt, I don't think the generals and stuff have done that bad of a job. Although the fact that they left our bases unprotected and we got these people killed by these drones, probably should have seen that coming. Like, we knew the drone thing was going to be a big deal based on Ukraine. I mean, you could be like, okay, we didn't know before Ukraine, but we've been in Ukraine. They're shooting hundreds of drones back and forth every day for years now. You have to assume that Iran has these stockpiles. They invented the Shahed drone. It's very effective. They're going to use it. You had to expect that the Russians were going to help them. You had to expect the Chinese were going to help them. I mean, this has been a pattern. I don't know how much of it is Trump versus the generals. I think the generals could have done a better job, but they haven't really like totally shit the bed on this one, I guess. I don't know. Things are still playing out.
I think it's a tough time to be in the military right now. I feel for our active duty troops, and I wouldn't say this about any other Republican administration. I wouldn't say this about the first Trump administration. I would say this about the current Trump administration. It is a very, very difficult time to be on active duty from your E1 to your O10. I think they're doing the best they can, but it's not easy given the level of politicization that the military is facing. That's really unprecedented.
I think many of us take war really seriously, and not to tell anyone how to draw people into it, but I think the hearts and mind aspect is really important. And this wasn't the type of war where I think our hearts and mind were drawn into it. It's different than rescuing people from concentration camps or avenging lives that were lost in a burning tower. I mean, initially when we entered in, it was about assets, and now it's about preventing nuclear weapons. And as far as Israel's side of it goes, I don't think any of us really 100% know what's going on there and what makes an Israeli's life more valuable than somebody living in Gaza, what makes anyone's life more valuable than anybody else's, and how do we justify taking people's lives to lower the cost of fuel? How do we know that they don't already have nuclear weapons, and why are we the only ones that are supposed to be able to have them? Like, who makes those decisions? Why are we the ones that get to make them? And no offense to us, but I don't think we're the most holy and worthy people on the planet and the only ones that should be holding the master button to blow people up. Who gets to make those decisions?
The Israelis. So.
Yeah, Israel gets to, because they can have nuclear weapons against the UN sanctions. So.
You know, I do think lives are important. I mean, not every life is important as others, but in the grand scheme of like humanity and international politics and stuff like that, yeah, energy is also very important too. We need energy to keep the world rolling. We need it for advancement. The harnessing of energy by a society is vitally important. Price going up a little bit temporarily, not that important, but the energy regime that we have needs to continue until we have some kind of alien technology like cold fusion shit or whatever they're rocking. So, you know, people are going to die in war. I don't necessarily think this is like a war yet, but people are going to die. Civilians are going to die. That shit happens. Question is, I mean, once you start it, you can't really control that, but it's like the key thing is like when you start, why you're doing it, how you start it, do you start it in the first place, and what your strategy is. Once the die is cast or whatever you want to say, you know, you can make adjustments and stuff, but you're kind of committed at that point, which is where we're at right now. And with the Hormuz thing, they kind of got us. I mean, they've got a very simple strategy: hunker down, keep control of Hormuz, and we can't really do that much to them. So, and then our strategy is either invade or don't invade. And if we don't invade, we can't force them into doing anything. So then we're just basically in a stalemate. But in this stalemate, they've cut off the oil. So there's like this pressure building on us. And that's why Trump is like threatening so much. And he's like, we're going to blow up your power plants and your bridges. I mean, the bridges will prevent food from moving around. The power plants, that means no hospitals. So you got premature babies, old people that need electronic medical equipment. The doctors won't be able to work. You know, water plants won't be able to pump clean water around. You don't have electricity. All the food in your fridge is going to spoil, especially in the cities. It's going to cause chaos. And I mean, it's basically like the Gaza plan. He's making these threats. He does it. He doesn't. I don't know. What do you think of the next stage of, I mean, we're obviously going to attack them again. So do you think Trump's going to follow through on the power plants and the civilian infrastructure, stuff like that?
Probably. He's going to do whatever Israel wants him to do, because really it's the United States of Israel. And if they want a quagmire in Iran, that's what they've been going for, trying to get out of us for 20 years. That's what they're probably going to get. We've did Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. We did all these other countries in the Middle East for them to make them feel better about themselves. And so they're going to get what they want with the Iran situation, whatever that may be.
It's a guaranteed clusterfuck.
And yeah, end up being a quagmire, another 19-year conflict. And then we'll leave all our equipment there.
Any final words on Iran?
It'd be nice if Congress stopped it, if that's possible.
I agree.
Instead of getting stuck in these 60-day loops of just, well, we're going to change, we're going to make a new operation name so we can do 60 more days of bullshit.
I didn't think about that, but that's an actual little workaround there.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Congress they're more loyal to their political careers than their constituents and to the country. That is their number one loyalty. It is midterms. Primaries are happening. So vote them out in the primaries, vote them out in the generals, vote them out.
Put another dirtbag in.
I personally think voting is bullshit. I mean, you've got most politicians are entrenched in their districts.
There's almost no difference between Democrat and Republican. They're all in cahoots with each other.
And the corporations and
Vote them out in the primary, vote them out in the general.
I mean, it's almost impossible to unseat an incumbent in a primary. I mean, it's
you need a whole new political party that represents a whole nother aspect of America instead of this boomer bullshit.
It's hard, but it's not impossible. It can't be like spur of the moment. You got to plan it out. A duopoly.
Yeah, it's
duopoly. Yeah.
In American history, a third party rose up. One of them went away. So one of the parties will start caucusing with that third party that rises, and then one of
the Bull Moose Party just took Republicans away from the Republican Party, then started a Democrat won election because of that. So, but you need a party that appeals to both of the shithead parties, so you can fuck both of them over and start something new.
I mean, Trump essentially
there's obviously middle
started
ground between both sides of the house. It's finding that middle ground and then politicalizing it.
Obama first,
Politicizing.
but Trump. I mean, Obama did it first. Obama basically created his own party within the Democrat Party and then took it over from within with Obama for America. And then because Hillary Clinton was the anointed one before him, and Trump did the same with the Republicans. If Trump had run as independent, he never would have won.
Sure.
He infiltrated the Republican Party, built up his own power base, and then essentially took it over and then changed the party. So, I mean, that's the dynamic that we have these days. You essentially have to go in as a Republican or a Democrat, achieve massive success, get independent funding sources. Like, you need your own ability to raise money. And then you just have to be wildly popular and smash the rest of the party. And they will all essentially change their stripes to match you because you're more powerful. I mean, it's like a raw power dynamic.
If you look at the countries that have more than two parties, a parliamentary system is friendlier to multiple parties because it's more of a coalition government. I think the way our government is set up, it is conducive to two parties. And so we would almost need to reform the Constitution to be more friendly to a multi-party system, in my opinion, if we truly wanted to get out of this two-party duopoly.
We would be much better off with a parliament. This whole system that we inherited from previous generations and from the founding fathers has been corrupted and taken over by billionaires and corporations. We're basically a corporate autocracy at this point where Mary wants the people to rise up, and that's just not how it works. People are distracted by media, college football, everyone's got their little kids.
Hedonism.
You know what I mean? The people are not going to rise up unless there's like a Pearl Harbor, a 9/11, some massive, massive scandal. That's why this Epstein thing is so dangerous for them, because it exposes their class. And that's why they're all working together in the media to protect it. So it's not looking good on the politics front for us. Well, I guess we'll see what happens when Trump starts winding down. I mean, this next midterm is going to be important. That's going to set up the next presidential election. You have to think the Democrats are going to come back with something better. The people who have been winning the Democrat primaries have not been good for a long time. So
I think America would be in a very good place if we had two solid nominees. Like, we had a Thomas Massie on the right and a Ro Khanna on the left. That would be like the best scenario for America, because you've got two guys who've worked together in Congress to keep government more honest, will speak out against their own party. That would be the best scenario, is if both sides kind of went against their own establishment and picked people who hold the government accountable. And to me, that is the relationship I see between Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. And if they ran against each other, there wouldn't even be hatred of the other sides. They would debate the issues, come at each other. There would be no hatred, because these are guys who have literally got legislation passed together. So honestly, I think that would be a direction I'd like to see America go, is cooling down the polarization, but also going at it as far as the best way to get things done. They have a lot of common ground on keeping government honest, but they fundamentally disagree on the role of government, because Ro Khanna is a Bernie Sanders progressive and Thomas Massie is like your anti-big spending libertarian. But they both believe government should be honest and have integrity, and they don't agree with unjust foreign wars. But I think where they are key distinction is one wants to believes that government should be spending a lot for the welfare of the people, and one's like, we'll keep government out of our lives and spend as little as possible. So I think that's the biggest reason they probably wouldn't be able to run together.
No one honest is going to get elected, because the primaries are controlled by the extremists, and the whole system is set up for each side to have their extremists nominate one person, and then all the rest of us have this A or B, Hillary Clinton or Trump choice. They say that we have freedom and that we have the ability to vote, but between the Electoral College and the primary system, we get locked into a binary choice between two extremists that nobody likes, and it's like, which one's the worst of two evils? And then they're both controlled by corporations, so the corporations win no matter what. You know what I mean? We
could have a corporate-owned general election between Gavin Newsom and Marco Rubio. That would be the most corporate owned general election in a while. And that's probably what we want to avoid.
I honestly think Dan Bilzerian's coming. And I said it last week. Somebody is going to follow Trump's lead and become this like outsider. There is a desire for an outsider candidate that can't be controlled. And it seems on the right, he's the one that's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say whatever I want.
He's in a congressional race now in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he can win, but he's going to keep doing politics. I mean, he obviously
Randy Fine is a giant piece of shit, though. So
that's obvious. Yes.
I think Tucker Carlson could absolutely win the presidency in the primary.
But yeah, he has the name recognition, and he's not perfect, but he would be better than some people. All right, let's get off of politics because that was kind of a digression. Next topic is Trump going to China. Not too much happened from my point of view, but there is just the dynamic. The U.S. versus China issue is the biggest like international relations issue probably of our entire generation after this like global war on terrorism thing, which turned out to be a huge farce, probably driven by Israel all along the way. Trump went over there. He had wanted to discuss trade issues with China, but because of the Iran conflict, he got bogged down, so this had to be delayed. He goes over there. They're saying he was striking little bargains, or he was asking for like little bargains on trade. He asked them for help on Hormuz, which obviously they're not going. I mean, they want the oil, but they're not going to help Trump. They're not going to help us when we kicked up all this shit in the Middle East. The Chinese absolutely do not want to get involved in the Middle East. They just want the fucking oil, which is smart. He took Jensen Huang over there. We can talk about the AI chips later. We've been talking about AI chips in China for a couple years now, but he's the CEO of, I'm pretty sure, the most valuable company in the world right now. And I mean, I like him. I've heard from some of his employees, like he's a little weird, but I mean, all these CEO types are going to be a little weird, a little standoffish. They're very powerful men. I mean, these are men. I'm not going to pretend that the top CEOs in the world are women because they're not. But yes, these are very powerful men, and they are entitled to act weird and treat their employees weirdly or whatever. They make a lot of money, and it's America, and cash talks and bullshit walks. Who wants to go first? Mary, what do you think about China and Trump's position, strong or weak, going to China?
Personally, I think the strength and weakness depends on what the actual objective was of the meeting. It was stated that they were going to discuss China-U.S. relations, world peace, and development, but the company he chose to keep on said trip were 12 powerful CEOs. First, I would suggest buying stock in those 12 companies, but second, I would say that sends a very clear message about what your goal may actually be and how corporately owned we actually are. To your point earlier, there were strengths on behalf of what his actual agenda is to treat the United States like a corporation instead of a country, because the aim of this country is not just to make money, it's freedom and to uphold the Constitution, to give people the opportunity for better lives. We don't just exist to make money. To me, it is clear that that is a very real goal of this administration. It is not about well-being. It is about finances.
I mean, what more evidence do you need that our government is completely taken over and controlled by corporations than Trump goes on this trip and drags all these big CEOs with him? I mean, these people are basically his allies, his boss. These are the people he answers to, is Elon Musk, Jensen, whoever else he took. I mean, these corporations are totally out of control.
100% agree. When you see the inclusion of all these major CEOs from firms like NVIDIA, it raises questions about corporate influence over foreign policy that are legitimate questions, specifically when it comes to semiconductor exports. It needs to be based on strategic policy, not some ad hoc negotiation by a corporate CEO. I'm concerned about still the supply chain. There's still a lot of vulnerability there, and I'm not confident that they're headed down the right path.
I think it's a little ridiculous. We shouldn't be co-opting any sort of large business shit with China. China is essentially our economic enemy. If anything, we should be slapping 1,000% tariff on China and isolating ourselves from them as much as possible to weaken them and then strengthen ourselves. I'd like to go back to pre-World War II isolationism and put 1,000% tariff on China, and then we deal nothing with China.
Well, we can't do that because the boomer corporate elite sold out our country.
Yeah,
and
I know.
They sent all our jobs in manufacturing over there. And almost more importantly, they let the Chinese consolidate 90%, 90+% of the critical minerals. They've been planning this forever. I mean, they've got us by the balls.
Yeah, and they steal our IPs. They steal all kinds of shit from us. So we need to cut the fucking umbilical cord, tell China go fuck themselves, and put 1,000% tariff on them, and we strengthen ourselves up. That's what I'd love to see. But no one's got the balls to do that.
They'll crash our economy.
They won't crash our economy. That's ridiculous.
They cut off critical minerals. They crash our economy.
We have more resources than any other country in the world.
But are we ready to just
Were we ready to jump into World War II and fucking win it? No, what we did it, didn't we?
If they cut off those minerals, it's going to take us 5 years to replace that.
Good. That'll give us all something to struggle towards and fucking accomplish a mission towards, just like making the Hoover Dam or some bullshit.
It's going to totally collapse.
It's a goal government. We can overcome. We're the most powerful country in the world. We've done the impossible before. Cut the umbilical cord and let's fucking become America, not a co-opted fucking Chinese American government here.
I'm not disagreeing with your intent. I'm just saying I'm not sure it ends up working out.
I mean, all those consumer goods that China makes for us now, we were making at one point in time. It's our politicians that sold all that manufacturing out to China. So to think that we can't go back to making all those consumer goods again is silly, in my opinion.
We can't without robots because they work for $3 a day and we're paying people $25 an hour. We've lost all of that. It's gone. It's not coming back.
Can be rebuilt.
Cannot unless we have robotics, and then that gets back to the AI. Like, we need to advance in AI and robotics in order to get automated factories here that can make some of this cheap shit that China's been making. But they have all the power generation, they have all the manufacturing, and even more importantly, they've got this critical minerals thing, which is just, we're fucked. Like that, when Trump put those tariffs on, that's like the first thing they did. They were like, all right, no more critical minerals. And that's when Trump backed down, which he did. And that's what they were talking about at this meeting, is these critical minerals. I don't know if they talked about it directly or whatever. I mean, they had to, if they had a meeting in South Korea when the Chinese turned it back on. But basically, we're going back to them begging for these critical minerals.
We have all these
what kind of position
in America. We have all these stupid regulatory environmental blockades that prevent us from doing it effectively. So that's the real problem. We want to exploit China to get this shit for free. We can extract resources without completely destroying the environment around us. We have quarries and other things in America that operate, so we can obviously.
Rare earth mining is extreme. It's like strip mining, and it pollutes the water supply because there's all the water runoff. If we're gonna do this, really need to be doing it in other people's countries like Ukraine. That's why Trump did that minerals deal with Ukraine. We want the minerals. We don't want to destroy our country.
Well, then we should have stayed in Afghanistan, where it has tons of resources we could have exploited.
I agree. We should have stayed in Afghanistan, but that was not handled well either.
The type of mining we're talking about, who it hurts the most is Trump's base. It hurts people in the damn Appalachia, places that live near these areas. It hurts rural white people the most.
West Virginians want the coal mines back up. They're not saying no coal mines. They want the coal mines going.
I understand, but I'm talking about the water pollution that would be necessary. It destroys communities.
We can figure it out, though. We can figure it out. Just like we put all these filters on coal plants and shit to filter out all the nasty shit those output. We can figure out ways to do it. We have the technology. We have the intellect. That's not propaganda.
There's no such thing as clean coal. I mean,
I never said it was completely clean. I said it's highly filtrated.
We need to do nuclear. And
I agree. Nuclear is the way forward. Agree, 100%.
I just know back in the day, I went to college not far from the Appalachia. I went to the University of Tennessee, and I saw some of the negative impact on some of these communities when it comes to surface mining. It really destroyed a lot of lives, and these people. I'm not saying this from a partisan perspective, because these people are likely Trump voters.
Yeah. What's all the positive effects when we start mining our own stuff, though? Like, it's going to outweigh the negative effects. I can guarantee it.
It would be better to do it in someone else's country, to be honest.
Sure, but if we were doing it here, it's way more beneficial overall for us and our economy. The environment we can figure it out.
I don't know.
We care so much about the environment. Why does Flint, Michigan still have a bunch of lead in their fucking water? You know what I'm saying? Like,
because they're poor people and no one gives a shit about.
The government has plenty of resources to fix it. If they really cared that much about the environment, then they'd fix it.
They created the situation in the first place by switching their water to brackish water. They had clean water before that. It was a decision by the government because the people there are poor and nobody fucking cares about them.
Whether it's happening in Flint, Michigan, or whether it's happening in West Virginia, it's fucking infuriating.
The poor people are going to suffer. The rural people are going to suffer. The land is going to suffer if we do it here. But whatever. Mary?
John, I wholeheartedly agree that it is the poor people that always suffer as a result of decisions. You know that I worked on Fort Benning as an environmental specialist for 6 years, directly working on testing, understanding regulations on a state and federal level through EPA and OSHA and DOT. And I've seen firsthand how it is a bipartisan issue, that it is all about money at the end of the day. It is not about protecting the environment. A local case in point would be the Chattahoochee River. It's currently filled with sewage. I have a hard time with that word.
Storage?
Basically, there's fecal matter in the Chattahoochee River that everyone's dealing with every time they go whitewater rafting, because instead of actually fixing the problem, it's been cheaper to just pay the fines. Now there's a lawsuit So they actually have to fix it, quote unquote, but they don't necessarily have to do it in a timeline that is healthy or makes sense. So I wholeheartedly agree that at the heart of the environmental policies, it is most definitely monetary gain and very limited on real concern for the actual environment or the people living in the areas where they are dumping all of these things.
I guess the last thing on China, if we're going to talk about China, is there's like these AI chips. We have a slight advantage on AI chips versus them. They have more electricity generation than us. Jensen went over there. Jensen wants to sell chips to China, right? I've said like, let's not sell them to China. And I think starting, I've been saying this, 4 years or whatever. I think we shouldn't have in the past. I don't think it necessarily really matters much now. There's kind of like two arguments here where we'll say we have better chips. So if we sell them our chips and then they have all the energy that they'll build better AI and that is not good for us, so we should withhold the chips from them. But in reality, what that does is it forces them to create their own chips, and then eventually they're going to leapfrog us, and their chips will be better than ours. So we'll have no control, and they'll have better chips than us eventually anyway.
Well, they don't leapfrog us.
Eventually they will. Or if we sell the chips into China, the Chinese are going to buy them because they're better like right now. We keep market share, which essentially slows down their advancement of like developing their own chips, but then they have the good chips now. So it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. I've been listening to Jensen. I think he's right to an extent. I'm at this point in 2026, I don't know if it really matters whether we sell them to them or not. Within a couple of years, they're going to get them anyway, whether they make them themselves, they smuggle them, whatever. I think he has a point that we should be selling. It's a huge market, and we just have to compete with them on the merits of just like who has a better AI. Any of you guys want to talk about the chips real quick before we switch? Do you think we should be selling them chips or not?
No, we shouldn't be selling them chips.
No. John, what do you think?
There's what, one company in the whole world that has the technology to even machine all this stuff out, and that's that Dutch company, ASML, right? So like they don't have the capability to build the chips. So like
they're gonna get
them. Why would we help them out?
Because like I said, then
let's give Germany the atomic bomb before. So let's help out. During World War II, we'll help them out. Give them some technology that they don't need. Why the fuck would we help out our biggest economic enemy?
Like I said, what Jensen says, if we don't sell them,
Jensen's Chinese. He wants more money. That's all that dude cares about.
Of course, he's a CEO, but he has a point. If they have no market share in China, and they're eventually going to get them anyway. Okay, Mr. Strip Mine the countryside. The last topic is tariffs. Trump recently lost in the Supreme Court 6-3 on his unilateral tariff thing. His justices, Amy Coney Barrett and Gorsuch, voted against him. He savaged them on his shitty social media platform and was saying how they're doing bad things to America. He says that he's going to remember the companies that don't ask for a tariff refund, as in he's going to do them some favors down the line if they just leave these tariffs with the government because they can get refunds because they're illegal. I mean, it's just like such an ass backward situation. I mean, I think if he just done some small targeted tariffs, it wouldn't have been challenged. But if we all remember the tariff thing, it was ridiculous. Putting tariffs on the entire world, putting huge tariffs on our allies, pissing everyone off. He ended up just pulling most of them back anyway. They put tariffs on us. It was literally the dumbest shit I think I've ever seen. I'm personally glad that the Supreme Court stopped him from doing this. I think it's ridiculous. And he sounds ridiculous every time he doesn't like some other country. He's like, oh, we're going to tariff you. It's like, shut the fuck up. You're so stupid. Who wants to talk about tariffs?
I think the constant legal fighting creates market instability. It also makes it really hard for companies to do their financial planning and analysis, which makes it hard for them to hire. I think that the back and forth, the policy uncertainty is bad. So I think there needed to be a resolution one way or the other. I think that a better strategy for what they're trying to accomplish, or what they say they're trying to accomplish, would simply be investing in domestic manufacturing and workers.
And robots. Mary, Trump, like just taking China on the tariffs, he went up to 145% tariff on everything out of China. And then China was like, okay, no rare earth minerals. And then he basically straight back down, didn't get anything for it. Pissed the Chinese off big time. Is this the art of the deal?
Well, the book Art of the Deal, he talked about thinking big, maximizing options, using leverage, getting the word out, and knowing your market. I do believe that he's been promoting himself and attacking competition, so he's holding true to that. I think he maximizes on getting the word out and using all publicity, including the bad press for branding, but backing down when met with opposition is hardly fighting hard or using leverage. I still think that an overlooked solution is bringing more businesses back to the United States, maybe a return to living more simply and educating on trades instead of forcing people to go to college, that would be more leverage than just applying tariffs to these other countries. And I'm inclined to agree with Tony Schwartz, who really actually penned the book and Trump takes most of the credit for, in saying that Trump had the absence of a soul. So maybe that's part of what we're seeing manifested, is that he just doesn't really have any concern for anybody other than himself and the business people that he brought there. He's made it evident that the bottom line is dollar signs. It is not the well-being of this country or the people that live in it.
Brandon, what are you thinking on tariffs?
I think we primarily use the military as our lever to get what we want, but I think tariffs are a great lever to use to get what we want out of countries. It helps mix things up, shows countries that we want to negotiate and change things up. I respect the Supreme Court for making a decision. That's their job after all, but I don't really agree in the refund. I think we should keep the money that we made off the tariffs. They think the tariffs are unconstitutional, by all means, then just end it at that point, but I don't think we should be refunding money that we made off the trading. I think that's fucking stupid.
Well, if they're illegal tariffs, what justification is there for keeping the money?
We're the most powerful country in the world, and we can do what the fuck we want. We can just not give the money back. What does Vietnam care about the legality of our tariffs? If we want to say, fuck you, you're not getting the money back, then they don't get the money back. What are they going to do about it?
We pay the tariffs, not Vietnam. The American companies that are doing the importing pay the tariffs, and the American people.
Any company sending stuff into America is paying the tariff, not just American company.
No,
anybody importing goods into the country.
Yeah, the importers are the Americans. The exporters don't pay the tariffs.
Yeah. So, okay, if we're just going to focus on the Americans, like Apple shouldn't be manufacturing shit in China and then sending it back. They should be getting charged for manufacturing their shit somewhere else and then shipping it back to America to be sold, because they should be manufacturing that here. I don't think those companies, we shouldn't be paying those companies back their money.
They made them here. An iPhone will cost $3,000.
Good. Then less people would need to buy one every year when barely anything changes.
My understanding of the tariffs is that it has a direct impact on the cost to the consumer. Am I not right there? Like, haven't all the costs gone up because of tariffs, because there's an increased expense?
Did the price of the iPhone go up because of tariffs? No, it's still $1,000 or whatever. So.
I don't know.
So even though it's cheaper to manufacture elsewhere because the tariff applies a tax to the item when it re-enters the United States, doesn't that price just get directed back to the consumer? And do we get that increased price just as a tariff, or do they add that as taxes?
That's on a state-to-state thing. If your state taxes increase, that's on the state.
I'm just really trying to understand how costs get divided. Does the company take a percentage of that? Do the American people or whoever's consuming that item have to pay that difference between what it costs to manufacture inexpensively and now what it costs, plus the increase in the tariff? What are we paying? What are they paying? Where is this money going?
I can go over that a little bit. So if it costs more to get the supplies that you buy to sell your goods and services, for example, cigars, the tariffs have affected cigar prices.
That hit you hard, right?
That
it's cost whiskey for me.
Passed on to the consumer, because those cigar makers, those cigar dealers, those cigar shops and lounges, they're now paying more to get those cigars. If they make them, they're paying more to make them. So they can still have decent margins. They're going to pass some of that cost on to the consumer. And so that's how it works. There's no way the consumer doesn't get affected.
They don't necessarily have to. They can take it out of their own profit margin as well.
They almost never.
I would imagine some businesses take a different strategy than others. I don't know.
Not everybody has the luxury of being Walmart. So
everybody's raising. I mean, the vast majority of them are raising prices.
Walmart can take a loss on a significant amount of their products and still be in the black. And that's how Walmart knocks out competitors. But not everybody can be a Walmart.
Tariffs not necessarily bad, but the way this is being done has been fucking ridiculous. So, any final tariff words?
Let's need to tariff China 1,000%.
Below the surface, what Trump was doing here, he wants the tariffs, one, because he controls it. It's a tax essentially on working class
all
people.
Imported goods.
Because, yeah, but it's a regressive tax because everybody has to pay the tariff, and the rich people, they don't give a shit about 10% more, right? So it's more of our money. So he's basically taxing the middle and lower classes, and it creates this slush fund for him where because it's not appropriated by Congress, so he just has this slush fund of billions of dollars that he can just throw wherever he wants to his buddies for his priorities, to throw his weight around, gets attention for him, and it makes him seem more powerful to these other leaders and everything like that. That's why he's doing it. That's why he loves it so much. You know, he doesn't have to go to Congress to ask for money. When the government
goes to a
down,
slush fund, it goes to the Treasury though, and it counts as
it's not
revenue.
Yeah, but he just spends it however he wants because it's not given by Congress or whatever.
The president can spend whatever's in the Treasury?
That's what he's doing. He's spending the tariffs as like a personal slush fund. Like when there was a government shutdown, he used it to pay for some of the salaries, give some political advantage. He's probably giving out contracts. It's like he's using it however the fuck he wants. He's like, oh, we're going to pay for this. We're going to pay for that with the tariffs. It's like his own fund. And it's coming from lower class people instead of the rich. Zoran wants to tax the fucking rich people and then use that money for what he wants. And Trump, it's kind of like the opposite. He's like the reverse Robin Hood. He's like taxing the poor and spending it on the rich and for whatever the fuck he wants. Okay, everybody, that was a good episode. Why don't we give everybody a chance to say one last thing? You can say whatever you want, complain about Israel, complain about Ilhan Omar, or Hillary Clinton eating babies, or whatever you guys got. So why don't we do Mary first?
Hey guys, as always, thanks for watching Real Veteran News. I'd say the most important thing to get out of this is to make sure that you get out there and vote. This is a midterm primary election, so it's really important. This is how we set up the candidates for the main election. This is how we vote for judges. This is how we show them our ethics, our morals, and our values, and what we stand for. So get out there and vote and stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
John.
Hey, I mean, it's the midterm election year. I do believe in voting. It's not going to change everything, but you definitely won't change anything if you don't get out there and let your voice be heard. So, do get out there and vote. But also, be a good neighbor. Don't be a dickhead. Don't be an asshole. Treat people how you want to be treated. I think that's more important than anything political.
Brandon.
Get off social media, make a family, raise them as your own, and that's the real gift to life right there.
All right. Well, voting is bullshit, and the only power is gained at the point of a rifle. So remember that.
I have many guns.
You strapped, John?
I am.
Good for you. Good for you. State of Florida, right?
It is a open carry state.
I'm buying a new rifle today, actually.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
But
treat it well.
Guns.
Hope you got a nice safe there.
I got a nice safe. I got 3 kids, almost 3 kids. I have to have a safe.
Good for you. All right, cool. All right, well, that was a good episode, RVN 56. So thanks everybody for watching. See you next time we do it. Bye.
Later.